Christina.
Yes, Miss Kimmy.
And we're going to have a little bit of fun right now in between our video podcast. And we are talking about COVID. And what I have learned in filmmaking and project management is that we have to have this new thing called compliance regulations for illnesses. So we have our mask here. You're welcome to wear it any way you want. I try to get creative with my mask. I like putting them on my ears here, and it makes a very good headband. Okay. And we have a solution to the problem with COVID compliance. And what we have here is a simple bar of soap and some alcohol here. And I'm just going to get you wet and demonstrate how we're going to be COVID compliant in the future. We'll take a bar of soap, and you could just lather that around and mix it up in your hands. And I have my own homemade sanitizer here, and this is just simple alcohol, and we can lather it around and be gooey. And my solution to that COVID project is to wash your hands. We got our sanitizer, our alcohol, and we're going to get drenched wet. And we can do this. How long would you say we do this during the day? Every hour or every 15 minutes? What's your solution on that?
Truthfully, if you're out and about, you should do it as much as you can, because people, since I owned a restaurant and I worked in taking care of disabled people, you would never believe what people do, especially with their hands. They don't wash them after they go to the bathroom. They pick their nose. They do many, many things. So every time you touch a doorknob, I carry a paper towel around with me. I don't care what anybody thinks of me. I try not to touch surfaces.
And what are your thoughts on washing and the vaccination? Do you think this is the more effective solution, or do you think we need to get stuck with
I think people that are out, Miss Kimmy, should wash their hands as much as possible, especially if they're going shopping in different places. You have to wash your hands today. People are not being clean. The virus is around. I haven't had the shot. I already had COVID. I didn't know I had COVID. And that's another probably discussion we can have, because I went to a doctor and they didn't even tell me I had COVID. So, I mean, it's a very sad situation today. You don't know what to believe with COVID. Nobody's actually telling you what COVID can do to harm you, especially the young men. I've talked to a lot of young men today. COVID has harmed them. It's made them impotent. They're having all kinds of problems with their skin. They're having all kinds of problems with their breathing. They don't have any kind of a booklet, any kind of a pamphlet, anything. They didn't put out what this product will do when they inject it in your body.
The facts and statistics, have you read, and you can tell me about your own personal experiences as well, but have you read any facts, statistics, I'm trying to get my hands on it, of what effectiveness it is, what research, scientific data they've done at federal level with the CDC to prove that these masks work over a shot? Or have you gotten your hands on any factual research about how effective a mask is versus a needle in an arm? Have you seen anything out there?
Miss Kimmy, the only reason I like the mask, America, is because I had a horrible sinus infection when the pandemic started last year. I could not get a doctor. They made me suffer for 60 days. Then the infection of my sinuses, which I get every year, went to my teeth. That's when you know you're going to die, because when you're my age, you cannot get an infection from sinuses in your teeth. Then you know it progressed to dangerous situation. I called them and informed them. Then they finally gave me an antibiotic after 2 months. I haven't had an infection since, but The mask is saving me because I had a woman sneeze on my back while I was standing in line at a store. And I saw the spray travel. And I turned my head quick because I saw the sneeze travel. I really did, like little bits of moisture. And I said, I'm wearing my mask. The mask saves me. I think everybody in this country, if they don't want to wear the mask, fine. If they do think the mask is helping, I'm wearing it because I haven't had a sinus infection again. Usually I have 2 or 3 a year. I haven't had any. When I go to a store, when I go out where there's lots of people, I wear a mask. And I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I'm wearing it until I think I don't have to anymore.
Would you say with COVID, did you know you were sick at the time that you had COVID symptoms?
No, I didn't. And that
You
was
didn't?
like 2 months ago. No, absolutely no symptoms at all. In fact, when they told me I had COVID entities, I said, so what does that mean? Did I have COVID? The first doctor couldn't answer. I found a new doctor. The second doctor answered. He says, Christina, you had COVID. I said, well, why didn't the first doctor tell me that? So I don't know what's going on in the world today. The flu will kill you. Pneumonia will kill you. There's so many things that will kill you. I'm a 74-year-old woman. I have to protect myself. I chose not to take the shot because I had a tetanus shot, which I had taken every 12 years because I cut my own wood. I live in the woods in the Adirondack Park, and I always cut my own wood. I almost died from the tetanus shot. I don't know what country the origin of it was, but that was the first time I was near death. I turned purple and I started looking at myself and I was turning purple. I got in the car and I drove myself to the hospital, which thank God it was only 15 minutes away, maybe 20 minutes. But when I ran in the emergency room, they looked at me and said, what's wrong with you? You're blue. I said, I'm losing air. I can't breathe. And I was gasping. I told them I had a tetanus shot 2 days earlier. And it just started to affect me the day before, after the tetanus shot. And then by the third day, it fully affected me. So I don't know what happened with the tetanus shots. They shot me in the legs, both legs. I guess it's an what's it called? An EpiPen.
Right.
Because I had to train for EpiPen when I worked for a disabled company. I learned how to do EPIs. I will never take another shot again in my life. I'm sorry. This is the way I feel. I know I liked my tetanus shots because I'm in the woods, but you have to protect yourself as a human being. You cannot listen to every little bit of information that's out there. You have to read all the information, and then you have to make a decision for your body. You know what you can do with your body. You know if you break out, you know if something makes you sick. You cannot, people don't know you. I mean, I don't know any of these people that made the shot, but I will say this. My son took the shot. I begged him not to. He's 38 years old and he's very ill from it. I don't know what to tell you. And he said to me, I wish I never took the shot, Mom.
I did have the shot, and I assume you, when you had COVID and you didn't know, you had a quarantine, they made you quarantine, but
no,
when
nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened.
Nothing happened. You didn't sick. You weren't puking.
No,
you weren't coughing. You
No.
weren't sneezing.
No.
You don't know what you were just a normal, vibrant woman from your experience. I had the shot. I had a pounding headache before. I went and got the shot. I had to go film in another state. I came back at the second shot, and I had a really bad pounding headache from it. It was so bad. I haven't had a headache in years, but we got through the headache thing, and I never take Advil or over the counter anything.
Never.
I have to be sick to even take it, to pop a Tylenol. So when I had the shot, the second one, it was excruciating, and I was tired and fatigued, and I went along and had to go through and go to my doctor, and I'm under the care of a doctor for a different reason. I have a chronic illness that's beyond my control. However, it doesn't debilitate my normal life. And I was able to get a shot as a previous teacher of schools, and being able to teach in the future is an option. But that was what I did for me, because I wanted to do it as a courtesy for the people that I was working around in cast and crew. And I felt because I would be a hypocrite as a leader if I didn't. But I understand that people are dying in this country, and what the solution is, and the alternate route for you is to wear this for you.
Right.
How do you react with people that aren't wearing their masks, that may be vaccinated?
There's a lot of people that aren't vaccinated and are not wearing their masks. And my thought is, there's a sign on Stewart's store in Northville: if you weren't vaccinated, wear your mask. I walked in and said to the girls, why are you wearing masks? Because we don't want the vaccination. They have a right as a United States citizen not to put something in their body that they don't want in their body. I have cancer people that I had a garage sale. These two people came to me, they're my age, 74, they look great. And they said, our friends died, they had cancer. They died 2 days after they got the COVID shot. And I said, what? They said they begged them not to get the COVID shot. They were already sick. They had cancer. What I don't understand is why the doctors are telling cancer patients that are already sick to get the COVID shot. How could you put another entity in your body if you already have an entity that's killing you?
Statistical research, it all comes down, once you agree to try to get our hands on some facts on what is actually going to be a solution. Doesn't that sound fair?
Do you think that we're actually going to get the truth? You've got to understand the world has always been about the money. Our pharmaceutical companies are making billions of dollars on COVID-19. If that's what people want to do and take the shot, hooray, they have a right to. But these pharmaceutical companies have no right to tell the American people they have to have the shot. If I die from COVID, okay, that's my privilege to. I don't want to hurt you or anybody else because I didn't take the shot. I chose to wear the mask.
We all make choices in life. I can choose to go out, drive a car, and either get behind the wheel of a car after drinking lots and lots and lots of alcohol, or do the logical thing and the moral thing and not drink and save my alcoholism, which I don't have, I just say that lightly, with the intention of mine that I don't want to run over a kid while I'm driving a vehicle. What would you say in COVID, what a solution would be for our COVID big picture in America solution? What are two solutions right now, since we don't really have any statistical data to prove anything in the first place? What are two solutions for COVID right now in your mind?
Here's what I'm afraid of. Napoleon Bonaparte said that the truth is based upon a group of people that lie together. So I don't know what to believe anymore. Actually, the way the government is trying to control the American people with this COVID is getting very sad. Now, nobody's heard anything about the flu anymore. Now it's just COVID. My brother was in China in 2020. He was teaching over there and he was visiting. They made him leave the country because they said there's a virus going around. But at that period of time, it was not called COVID. He came home and he had a lot of tests done on him because he actually got frightened because it was a virus. It was COVID-19. We named it in America. What they should have done is nobody was paying attention. They should have stopped all the flights coming into everybody's countries. Maybe we could have stopped it then. We don't know. But how did this virus start? Everybody's saying China. Truthfully, I believe since my brother was there, that's a possibility. I can't really find the truth. Can we all find the total truth in anything anymore? No. So people, all I'm going to say, America, anybody in any country, you have the right not to take the shot. I am seeing friends die from it. I am seeing young people having all kinds of problems from it, especially becoming impotent. Did they tell you you'd become impotent as a man if you took that shot? Hello, America.
We had tuberculosis in the past, and my grandfather was very sick from it. And all I can tell you is I was slated. I had a job offer to go teach in China. I was supposed to, I had all my certifications. I had my health check, and they checked me for syphilis and gonorrhea and AIDS and tuberculosis and polio. And I had to go down to the consulate in the US. The United States of America was so amazing with their policies and procedures to get me out of the country to go teach kids. They were so thorough that I told them, I called Washington, D.C. and said, I need this notarized, I need this done. I was all ready to go to teach in China, and the Chinese consulate said, no, you're not coming. I had a job offer. I was clean as a whistle with my health, and the United States of America, I called the White House myself. President Trump was the president at the time. And I was all ready, and I was almost to the last step. And I didn't know, I took it personally. Why is the Chinese consulate in Manhattan going, no, you can't come? I'm like, what's wrong with my transcript? I have an A+ average from a graduate level school. I have teaching experience. I can go teach your kids. I don't have diseases. I have no baggage. I can go. And it was like, no, you can't come in our country, Kimberly. And I'm like, but I look Asian. What's wrong? Why can't I go? I really want to go teach your kids. Our language, how we communicate, our behaviors. And if hindsight were 2020, I would have known that we had something different going on in this country, and it wasn't the time for me to be deported as an American citizen. So with that being said, where's the statistical research on what solutions we are having in this country on whatever it is going on, since I already had a letter before under the previous presidential administration that, I'm sorry, Kimberly, we're having a national emergency, before it even happened. I know they knew something. I was told when I was a government essential employee that our government was getting shut down, but I didn't ask questions. I was told that, yes, Kimberly, you're being hired for a special project, but you're not going to finish the job. So with that being said, what is our solution in your experience, Christina, with COVID?
I don't want to chuckle, but the American people are really getting walked all over with this. I don't know if you read the article where the American people, tourism, we're not allowed to go to certain countries. But yet I saw on YouTube some famous actors that are very wealthy. They're in all these countries visiting. So why can they go? Because they're rich. And why can't just normal, poor American people go to take a trip like tourism? I don't get it. COVID is out there. It's all over the world. I believe I have an immune deficiency, efficiency, whatever you want to call it. Immunity, what's it called, Miss Kim?
Autoimmune.
I have autoimmune.
Disorder?
Yes. My mother, no, I don't have a disorder. In other words, I'm immune to a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
My mother raised 11 of us. We all got measles and chicken pox twice. The doctors told us we can't. My mother said, you're full of baloney. You can get everything twice. It's possible. She never got sick. So she evidently was immune to a lot of things. I'm glad she's not alive for this situation now, because I think my mom and dad would have suffered with this situation. They were such great, strong people. But here's the thing. I didn't take the shot because I felt I wanted to build up my immunity. If I did get sick, maybe I could fight it. And then I wouldn't have to worry about that shot. I did not want to put something in my system that I know nothing about. I read maybe 100 articles on it. It doesn't tell me anything. Nobody tells me what damage it's going to cause to people.
Again, our credible, factual information that American people are striving to find, but it really doesn't exist.
Do you really believe that the rich people got the same shot we got? I don't. I think that the vaccine was different for the rich people, to be honest with you. I don't believe everybody's getting the same shot. I just don't believe it.
It's a lot like having a 20-carat diamond ring or a cubic zirconium.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right.
I mean, two different worlds, two different styles of living. I mean, when people say, movie stars say, oh, they went bankrupt, I laugh. They own an island, but they're bankrupt. The American people, the working class people, if we go bankrupt, we don't have an island. We are bankrupt.
Anything else we want to talk about regarding COVID?
I just think
move on to Andrew.
Yes, exactly. I met him when he was young. Anyway, I believe that the American people with this COVID that's going on should not be forced to take the jabbing in their arm, whatever. And I believe that they should fight back. We are actually being treated horribly because we don't want the shot. I told somebody I had COVID already and they went.
Have you heard about the market of beast and Revelations? Have you read the book of Revelations, by the way?
Of course, my son read it. I read it. I tried to have him explain it. They say the meek shall inherit the earth, but there's more to that word meek. Everybody that's governing our country and making it weak, there's always a price to pay. You know that old saying, what comes around goes around? The meek will inherit the earth. The working class people are stronger. If anything happens in this country, God bless America, the meek shall inherit the earth. One more fact. If they think somebody else is going to come in and control this country, another government from another country, all those rich people will not have their bank accounts, because from what I understand and from what I've listened to people coming from other countries, the government that rules this country will automatically go in those millionaire bank accounts. So millionaires, start taking care of the poor people in America, start defending us, start being on our side. We're just as good as you.
Before we take break, let's get back into the questions that I have for you. Let's talk about leadership and mentoring. Who was a role model for you?
My mother and father. Absolutely. My dad was a correction officer for 22 years, and he went and bought, when he retired, he bought 4 racehorses, never drove a horse in his life, and he became a harness horseman, a driver. We trained, my brothers, I have 7 brothers, as I said before, we trained, we groomed, and my dad was the driver. So here's a man that never got on a sulky in his life. And I remember Percy Davis was very famous at the time, says, your father can drive better than those young people that have been around horses all their lives. So I have to say my dad was the role model because they told him he couldn't do it. And he looked at them and said, there's no such thing. And my mother, God bless her, I don't know how she was happy every day. She smiled every day. I don't know how she kept it all together. 11 children, a year apart. How do you smile every day? She said, because I love all of you. Because I wanted all of you. And another thing is we were bullied in school, very much so. We were from Italian Catholic family. And in those days, birth control was condemned by the Catholic Church. So my mother and father abided by the Catholic Church. It wasn't their fault.
That's because we were taught if we weren't virgins when we got married, we would go to hell, Christina.
Well, I was a virgin when I got married. And I'm not saying it was so bad, but I wish it could have lasted my marriage, but I was very young and innocent. And even though I had a gorgeous, very nice husband, I didn't know anything. And that didn't help the marriage.
What are your solutions to this broken American system?
You know, the President of the United States, if he really wants to, he controls this country. All he has to do, like President Trump wanted to, but didn't. I don't know who advised him not to do that one thing. He should have pulled every card out he could have to save his presidency. Because if Mr. Biden really wanted to save this country, he would pay more Social Security to the older people, get all the student debt loan gone, because these kids are not going anywhere if you don't get rid of the student loans. I still have one. I'm 74. I can't get rid of it. So Mr. Biden should.
With politicians.
And I worked with politicians, but it was different back then. I think they were more into helping people. Mr. Biden, you're not going to pass this $1 trillion bill without getting rid of the student loans for all of us and giving the American kids and the older people that still have student loans a chance to live. And SSI and SSDI. Help us. That's all you have to do. Maybe you'll get your $1 trillion bill passed.
Let's talk about, before we cut off the commercial break.
Okay.
One quote that you would have for America right now.
Never give up. Start protecting your families. Take care of your families. Get on that president and tell him to send those people home. All right, we will come back in a few minutes and we will cut to commercial break and talk raw and uncut with Christina about her experiences with Matilda and Mario Cuomo.